Yeah, I just don't know what their succession plan is exactly because like you don't have that guy on the roster, and you're going to bank on drafting that guy, which is fine because I guess you have your Justin Fields years, his rookie contract years, but it goes back to the thing that I think we maybe discussed this before, maybe we haven't, but the Bears have tried the loaded defense thing. A lot of teams have tried the loaded defense thing. I'll say in playoffs, yeah, it helps out a lot more. I'll say as a Bears fan, it hasn't really gotten to too many places in a long time. So it's about
Nope.
time maybe we try we try injecting a bunch of money into the offense, and then we do our best, the best that we can with the defense. Like a defense that is above average, obviously, would be great, but we don't stack all of our cards into a defense and then just hope the offense can pick up a couple of points because that's not the NFL as it currently is. Yeah, you have your one-off teams, one, two-off teams, whatever. They have like stellar defenses. They're carried, everything else, and they can go pretty far. But they're more or less. I don't want to say a flash in the pan, but it's not consistent winning because the NFL isn't built around defenses. It's built around offenses. It's
Yeah,
built around
they're
scoring.
limited.
Yeah, scoring's cool. Everyone wants to score. I think that they're going for, and that's what they've showed with all their offseason moves and everything, is that they're going for going on the offensive side. And with the defense, we've got a fantastic core of players to build around and like veterans and people with all pros and all stars and everything um, to use. And then we have a bunch of younger guys that have promising things, but they're not expensive. So we're going to go with the fact that, hey, maybe our offense can keep us like completely off the field for a long period of the game. We can run, ground pound, everything else, and just keep it on that side of the ball or that side of the field. And then the defense, yeah, when we need to stop, we feel confident that they can usually grind out a stop, but we're not relying on them to win the game and score points for us because they shouldn't have to stop points being scored and also score them themselves. We've seen that. It's fun and it's crazy when it happens, but it doesn't lead to long-term success. So I think that that's what they're doing. I think that that's what the league has been kind of demonstrating. And again, you've seen if you don't invest resources in the right way on the offense, you could have fantastic quarterback, fantastic receiver, and everything. And if you don't have a good line like the Chiefs did, you have what the Super Bowl it basically resulted in. You could have that falling apart, and it pretty much means nothing because you're getting hit 2 seconds after the snap. So I think that's where the Bears are going. I think that makes a lot of sense with their structure of the team and everything else, like all the background stuff about the moving stadiums and stuff. That doesn't really play into it too much, but I just feel like the whole idea of a rebrand and the whole idea of a new identity is really prevalent, and that's the direction that they've been going and what they're looking to do.
Yeah. So a couple things that I thought about while you were actually going through that actually like sparked my thought process on a couple things. So one, I do want to say I agree with you that they need to start investing in the offense, and that maybe that's what they've been doing with Justin Fields, Tevin Jenkins, Borum, Daz Newsome, all these additions, as well as Goodwin, and Bird, and you're getting obviously Damian Williams in, you're getting Tariq Cohen back. There's a lot of weapons on the offense that we can talk about. The one thing I will say is a different perspective that I didn't think about really. I heard it from somebody. I can't remember what person said it, what sports personality said it, but they basically said that the Bears, up until they drafted Justin Fields, had no plan. And
It
what you mean
feels
by
like it.
that is if you actually look at their plan, I mean, think about it. Before the Bears went into that draft, they had the 28th pick. Everybody was expecting them to just keep the pick and not trade up and do something, you know, draft a tackle or something. And we were all expecting Andy Dalton to be the starter. Obviously, Andy Dalton being the starter, team's not going to be very good. So you have, whatever tackle that comes in is like, hey, you're going to be the building block for whatever next front office comes in. So ultimately, if you look at that actual build that they did before they drafted Justin Fields, it doesn't look great. The
Oh yeah.
thing is, when they drafted Justin Fields, I think that's when they started to have to develop a plan on the fly. And I think that's when you got Tevin Jenkins drafted, which was another great draft pick. I'm not saying Tevin Jenkins was a crazy move made on the fly. It was a great move to trade up to get him because he was a first round talent that fell into the second round. But the problem is that they started to make a plan on the fly. So now when you look at the Bears, it's hard because before we were so dismal about Allen Robinson being re-signed because we were like, okay, are they really going to re-sign him with Andy Dalton? Because the year's going to be bad. We're not going to be very good. We're not going to make the playoffs. Front office is all going to get fired. Akeem Hicks is going to leave the team. Kyle Fuller was going to leave the team. Allen Robinson's going to leave the team. All that stuff.
It's a bad spot. It's really dark.
That's where we thought. That's where we all were. We all were in that headspace. We joked about how like we were like, all right, we're gonna boycott the season. That's just how we all felt. They drafted Justin Fields. Suddenly, all of those moves that we've made and all the players we have on our team all look different. So now the plan shifts. I do wonder if what you said in that spiel that you gave plays to that like maybe now they're starting to invest weapons. So maybe that's why they would end up re-signing on Robinson, because plans changed, because they weren't just a team trying to, save their jobs. Now they're a team that's like, okay, we have our guy. Now we have our left tackle. Now we're building an offensive line. Now we drafted another slot receiver to potentially take over for Miller and Daz Newsome. We have Damian Williams as depth. Now we bring in Justin Fields. Maybe that's why they would now be motivated to draft Allen Robinson, because we all know that when Justin Fields starts throwing the ball to Allen Robinson, magic's going to happen. You're going to see Allen Robinson, who, by the way, has been putting up 1,000+ yards a season every season with incredible catch rates, with incredible double covered catch rates, which are just out of this world. Go look up those statistics because they're insane. They're on the level of DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, all them, but he doesn't get talked about because he's had Blake Bortles and frickin' Nick Foles and frickin' Trubisky to throw to him. So it's been bad. So when you get Justin Fields to throw to him, who, all accounts looks like he'll be very good, we all hope, is going to throw to him and it's going to be successful. Maybe that's when the tide switches. Maybe that's when the switch happens inside of the Bears organization, where they go, yes, we're now doubling down on investing on offensive weapons to build around this kid, bring back Allen Robinson. And I do hope that what your argument you just made there about the league changing to that and the tide kind of changing with the drafting of Justin Fields, I'm hoping that you're right and that's where it goes. It's history, unfortunately, makes me very pessimistic about the way that this is going to go, but I do hope that you're right.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an optimistic view for sure. And like, again, even if that was the case and he did end up leaving, it's going to suck. It really is. It's going to be a huge role to have to fill, but that's also a lot of money they have freed up. Obviously they're going to look to draft a receiver to replace him and maybe go out and get someone in free agency. There's an infinite number of moves they can go ahead and do, but the fact is they're going to have a lot of cap space available. There are going to be veterans that are going to be leaving the team, and things are going to change a lot. That's something I wouldn't rather see changed if I had an option. So we're going to have a lot to deal with in the first place, and no one really wants to see that, but it's going to be a completely new look team. And again, the whole thing rides on, is Justin Fields a franchise quarterback? We all hope he is. We all think he will be. If he's not, it's all kaput. There's nothing to go off of. Then you're looking at, of course, he's going to leave. The veterans are coming off the team, and you're not going to blame them for leaving or being cut, whatever else. It's a totally new. We're back to where we were last year. You're done.
We're back to before that, Dylan. We're back to 2015. Trustman has left and we're bringing in John Fox. That's where we're at. That's where we'll be.
Yeah. It's over. It's over at that point. So obviously that's not the reality that we want to envision or discuss. So I like those options. Obviously the one that isn't so great is, he's good, but then Allen Robinson leaves, but we'll get to that when we get there. But